What is going on, everybody? We are back in Maryland, and today I wanted to go over how much the trip that I took over the last 3 months cost me. So I've had a few people ask me what the last 3 months cost, and I went through and I actually did the math on it, and the answer kind of surprised me, and it was actually a little painful to read. But I tracked everything with my credit card because it allows me to categorize things and it allows me to get certain cash back on certain things. But I was able to categorize this stuff pretty easily and go month by month over what things cost. Now, the biggest expense of the entire trip was gas, and that was to kind of be expected. I left right in the middle of June when gas prices were at their highest and were only climbing at that point. So I kind of knew what I was getting into, but I really didn't think it was going to be this bad, especially once I got up into Canada. So my total that I spent on gas for the entire 71 days that I was out was $4,558.40. Now, that was over the course of 71 days, covering my time from when I left Maryland, went to Michigan, over to Canada, across Canada, and then down, and then into the Pacific Northwest, and then back home. So that is the entire trip. The entire trip cost me about $4,600 in gas. Now, like I said, Canada was a really big factor in that. I mean, even some of the cheaper gas was well over $6 a gallon when you did the conversion. Just in the month of July, I spent $2,300 alone in gas. Half of that was, a little more than half of that was spent just getting across the country. I mean, there were points in Ontario where we were filling up for 87. Unleaded was pushing $7.25 a gallon when you did all the conversions and everything. So gas in Canada is really what got me, and then by the time I got out to the West Coast, finding gas for anything less than $5 a gallon was a really big challenge. But fortunately for me now, coming back across the country, gas was much, much cheaper, and especially when you're in those middle country states where they have all that corn gas, stuff gets pretty cheap pretty quickly. But now that I'm back here on the East Coast, gas has kind of settled down and prices are going back down again. We're well below $4 here in the state of Maryland, which is really nice, so I'm not spending a ton of money on gas while I'm home. Now, my other big expense was food and drink, and this number encapsulates everything food and drink wise. So that's like beer that I bought at a liquor store, or whiskey or something like that, as well as when I went out to eat. It covers everything from groceries all the way up to me going out to eat. But in total, over 71 days, I spent $2,670.33 on food and drink. Now, to me, that's really not that bad. When you think about the fact that I was out and about and I'm traveling and you're going to restaurants and all that kind of stuff, $2,600 over the course of almost 3 months is really not that bad. Some of my favorite places were out on the West Coast. A lot of the places that I was able to go with Archie ended up being like breweries or pizza places or stuff like that, just because they have outdoor seating areas typically, and I can take the dog there and it's not going to be a problem. But yeah, so I spent about $2,600 on food and drink. Now, one of the other big questions I get is, doesn't it cost you a bunch of money for like campsite fees and hotel fees and that kind of stuff? And the reality is it doesn't have to if you know where to look and you know what you're doing. So the entire trip in terms of lodging only cost me $662.47. So less than $700 for lodging total. Now, granted, I'm not staying in a hotel every single one of those days. I am living in the back of my truck, but I do have everything that I need in this truck, so it's not like I'm really roughing it out there in the woods. And that $662 also encapsulates the 3 Airbnbs that I spent time in. And I was getting Airbnbs like once every 3 weeks or something like that, just so I could like reset and clean the camper out and, do laundry and take a real shower and all that kind of stuff. It was nice to just do that all at one spot at like an Airbnb instead of having to like travel around a town for that. Now, also encapsulated in that is like my park fees and stuff like that. So like my fees for when I went out on the dunes in Oregon and like all that kind of stuff. So that covers all of those fees as well. The main places that I end up staying are actually national forests or BLM land, because they're free to stay on and you can typically stay in one spot for up to 14 days. Not that I'm doing that anyway, but you could theoretically stay in a single campsite for 14 days and not have to pay for it when you use public land. Public land find is the easiest and the cheapest way to travel around and make sure that when you're traveling, you're not spending a shit ton of money on lodging. Now, last category is just like random stuff that I bought while I was out, like either, you know, additional stuff for the camper or just like random little stuff that I bought while I was out. And that totaled to just over $1,000. So that was $1,001.99 for miscellaneous shopping. Now, the other big thing that did get me was the starter repair for when my starter went out when I was in the middle of the woods outside of Leavenworth. That repair alone cost me $475. So that was not cheap, but it was something that I actually had to do, or else I was going to be stuck in the woods for theoretically ever. Now, all of this comes to a grand total of $9,329.97. And again, this was over the course of 71 days. So I left on the morning of June 11th, 2022, and I got back the afternoon of August 21st, 2022. So the time between those was about 71 days. So over the course of 71 days, I spent $9,329.97. So I really wanted to just make this video so you guys understood how much this kind of stuff costs, so if you were thinking about doing it, what you could expect. Now, some of the things that I would do differently is slow way down. I was moving way too fast, way too often, and that is shown in the fact that I spent $4,600 on gas alone. Now that gas is significantly cheaper, it's going to be a little bit better now when I go back out, but that mentality still can't change. I have to make sure that I slow way down, and I try not to see too many things in too little of a time frame. And also, when you slow down, you can really enjoy the towns and the areas that you're in. You don't have to just like pick one stop to go to for that night and then you're getting out of there. You can, you know, maybe go to a pizza place one night and then go to a sushi place another night and then go to like a Mexican place another night. You can stay around in the towns and really enjoy the towns and get to know them. So the biggest thing I'm going to change moving forward is I'm just going to slow way down. But other than slowing down, I really just want to make sure that I'm being smart about how I'm spending my time. The whole purpose of me being out on the road was to make sure that I'm enjoying my time and I'm slowing down and I'm enjoying life in general. So I need to make sure that I'm just slowing down and I'm enjoying everything that I am taking in, because the reality is my life is kind of like a dream now. I'm living some people's dream, and I need to slow down and I need to appreciate that, and I need to make sure that I can keep the wheels on this bus and keep moving forward. So that's going to do it for the video today. I really appreciate everybody who watches these videos. It means the world to me. If you guys could also hit the like and subscribe buttons down below, that kind of stuff really does make a difference for like YouTube content creation. So if you guys could do that for me, I would really appreciate it. I'm going to get back to the typical camping content here shortly. I've got a couple more weeks here at home, but then I'm going to be heading north and I'm going to be spending pretty much all of fall in New England and Pennsylvania and just enjoying the fall weather here on the East Coast, specifically in the Northeast. So I will see you guys in the next video. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you then. Peace.